And I do it in pink. To be fair, this is not my color. It makes me look sallow. Right? I'm much more of a jewel tone sort of person.
In here right now?
Right? But I'm worth it looking a little pale just to make the point. And of course I just love the shirt, right?
How about when I'm not standing here?
Yeah, it is a great shirt, and I will wear it every once in a while, you know, when I come to events. Like today was my busy day, so I waited for my busy day in order to wear the outfit.
What are you doing right now?
What? It's not like you matter.
They don't get free content.
No. Chuck Nichols at him. There we go. No, I was just talking about the shirt. Because stand up. Look at this. Look at the sartorial awesomeness that is on display right now. Right? Yeah.
2 pairs and a pot.
Right, exactly.
It's funny because I just did a panel and they were just like, that's the least I've seen you talk on a panel. And I'm like, really? Because the next one I'll be lucky to get a word in edgewise.
No. The panel is about me. The panel is about me. Did you have a sign out there that said, "Line for John Scalzi"? No, I don't think so.
Oddly enough, I did not.
Oh, yeah, there you go. He was very shy. I actually posted to Blue Sky a picture of me going like this at my sign. Like, look, I have a line. Oh, they love me. They love me.
Huh?
What?
Spoilers, I only wrote down 3 questions to ask.
Did you actually, you
know.
actually wrote down questions?
Because
I'm so proud of you.
last night was rough.
Oh yeah. Do you know what happened to me yesterday?
Sure.
Okay, I did my signing.
The panel started, so we're going.
We're just talking.
Right.
We're just talking at this point. So I went and did my signing, and I signed for a nice long time, me and Naomi Novik, and then I went back to my room, and it's like about 4 o'clock. And I'm like, I'll watch a couple of YouTube videos, and then I'll get up and...
Right.
And then I wake up, and it's like 10:30 at night, right? And I'm like, well, I guess I know what I'm doing tonight, and then promptly went back to sleep. And so I peopled out.
No, same thing happened. So like, it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock yesterday, and people were like, hey Maurice, where's BarCon gonna be? Where are you taking us? And I'm like, look here. I can BarCon with y'all tonight, or I can run the symposium tomorrow, but I cannot do both.
And it really was cool because, got here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It was about the right time for just all of a sudden your body to go, just a reminder, you are 56 years old and you are paying for every moment that you are functioning. Which I resent, because when I first, back in the old days, when I first started going to conventions.
I don't know why I prepped.
Yeah, why did you do that? When I first started going to conventions, and when I was a youngin' in my 30s, and I was like, all the cool stuff's happening after 10 p.m. What happens to all the people over 50? Because I don't see them anymore. And now, I know they are in the blissful arms of sleep. Because is the difference. When you're in your 20s and 30s, you have FOMO, which is fear of missing out. When you are in your 40s and 50s, you have FOMS, which is fear of missing sleep.
Right.
So I got like about 12 hours of sleep, and which is good because I had 2 panels today, and we're doing this, and then I have to go to whatever that thing that you have at the place that we were going to.
Which was a secret event, but sure.
No, that's why I was very vague about it.
Okay.
But
they don't suspect a thing.
They don't. But so I will actually be functional today. So that's good. And of course I have my beloved Coke Zero, which matters as well. Anyway, hi everyone.
No.
Hi.
No.
What?
I'm in charge of the panel.
Hey everyone. Maurice is in charge.
You know what? Now you don't get a bio. I'm not reading your bio, so no. And now, first question. What's it like to be married to someone as awesome as Chrissy?
It's great!
Hang on, to be fair, I invited him to be guest of honor, but the condition was only if Chrissy can come.
And she was here for exactly 24 hours, and it was hilarious because we walked around and people were like, oh, hi, Scalzi. Chrissy, you're here! And this happens every single time. I went to Iceland to be the guest of honor at IceCon, the national science fiction convention of Iceland, which had about 30 people in it because it's a small country, but even so. The first day, they're like, oh, John Scalzi, it's so cool that you're here. It's really cool. The next day, I show up to do my stuff, and they look at me like, oh yeah, you're here. Where's Chrissy? She's like, no, she's off getting like a manicure. And they're like, fine, you can stay. I'm like, you invited me! What is going on? But I will tell you this. I mean,
It's just us talking.
It is just us talking. It's just friends here.
Right.
It's for those of you who don't know, and I don't know how you don't know if you are actually here. My wife is like amazing, right? Now she's an Amazon. She's absolutely stunning, beautiful. People walk into walls when they see her. You know, literally has happened. Hilarious. And I remember the very first time way back when Chrissy and I first started.
It's been a long weekend.
It's been a long weekend.
Right.
First started dating. I took her to meet my friends from high school, right? And we all went down to my friend Devin's house, and there was a party, and I introduced her and walked around and all that sort of stuff. And then she went off to go get a beer, and like all my friends were like, quickly, how? You. And I had been waiting years for this moment. And I was like, motherfuckers, it's because I learned how to dance. In high school, I took 2 years of jazz and modern, and my friends mocked me when that happened. But Chrissy saw me dancing at the bar, not on the bar, at the bar. I was there because I was doing a story in a local DJ, and as long as I was there, I might as well dance because I took 2 years of jazz and modern, and I was like, would you like to dance? Would you like to dance? Would you like to dance? She saw me dancing when she came in with her date and was like, what an interesting and amusing dance style. I want to dance with that guy sometime soon. Came up to me, and I'm standing there with my coat, and literally the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life, and I was interviewing movie stars at the time, so I had a bar. Came up to me and said, you and I should dance sometime tonight. And I said, now is good. Because I might be a nerd, but I'm not stupid. And we danced to Cure's Friday I'm in Love, and all that sort of stuff, and then we started going out, and so I said to all my friends, you all mocked me when I was doing dancing, but it has paid off, and I am happy, and you are alone, and you will be for years, and I was right. So what I'm trying to say is, learn how to dance. It's a pretty good thing. And also, if you happen to be at Worldcon in a couple of weeks, I will be DJing dance there. So, which I will be doing primarily so I can dance with Chrissy. Right.
I just realized a couple of things.
What?
One, my book's due Monday.
Right.
And two, I figure if I ask you a question, I can actually work on it now.
Oh yeah, no. You don't actually have to be here.
I know.
At some point, we'll also open up to questions, but you know.
Oh yeah, I told you I only wrote like 2 or 3.
Yeah, no, we're good.
We're good.
I mean, it's not like I'm shy.
Right. So here's the thing. As a professional writer who has a career, I'm talking about me. No. I'm the professional.
Oh no, I get it.
And I think, John Scalzi, he does all these books and everything, but how do these pitch meetings go between you and your editor? Because here's what I'm picturing.
Okay.
All right. How's this? Kaiju. But what's the plot? Kaiju. What any other book ideas? All right, so we got all right, hear me out now. The moon made of cheese. How high is anyone involved?
Wow. So here's the thing. Which is at some point they stopped asking and they just started accepting that something would come in and it would be absolutely ridiculous, but it would work. And to go back to Chrissy. No. It all ties together. Chrissy lives with me. And so she hears what's going on in my brain. And so, for example, I tell her, I'm thinking of writing a book about the moon turning to cheese. And she's like, and she's like, fine, right? Because, and she just immediately is like, because she's a reader, she's not a creator, she's just like, she's racking her brain. She's like, what do you do with it? Because it's not a novel, it's one line. Look, the moon, it turns to cheese. And then I will give her the chapters, and she'll be like, fine, it works. Right? Because the whole thing is,
I was just thinking, the one time I turned some pages over to my wife, because I was like, I'm gonna try something different, I'm gonna write a sex scene. So let me give the pages to my wife, like, honey, here, what do you think of the scene? And she's just like, you know, I'm aware that you've had sex before. I don't know what's going on.
that's not how it works. Right, but that's the whole thing is that, you know, if there's one thing that I'm actually really good at, and don't know why, it's taking extremely high concept ideas and just like running with them, you know, because looking at the real world results of the moon actually turning to cheese. Because here's the thing that people do, and let's go back to Red Shirts. Red Shirts was a book that came out in 2012. When I did Red Shirts, everybody knew, well, everybody here, because you're all nerds, everybody knew what a red shirt was. It's like, oh no, Ensign Jones is going down with Kirk and Spot and Scotty. Someone's going to die. It's going to be Ensign Jones. Ha 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 ha. You know. It was really a 5-minute joke. Everybody gets it, everybody knows what it is, it's a punchline, and so on and so forth. But here's the thing about Ensign Jones. Ensign Jones went to the fucking academy, right? And he was at the top of his class, okay? Because he got on the flagship of the Federation. This was a guy with a future. This was a guy who was admired. He was the alpha male of his particular, you know, little group of friends and stuff like that. They go, Ensign Jones, he's gonna go far, he's gonna be captain one day, and I'm gonna be on his ship as the, you know, science officer, and I'm gonna hitch my star to Ensign Jones. And then he's eaten by a space badger. He had all this amazing backstory, which you never know, because his entire role is to die by the space badger. No one expected the space badger, except literally everybody who watched once Ensign Jones came down with Scotty, Kirk, and Spock. And that was the whole thing. So if you imagine it from the Red Shirts' point of view, that they're not expendable, that their entire life up to that point, they were the protagonists of their own story. The person who expected the space badger least of all was Ensign Jones. And then you build on that, and people are like, I don't know how you did it. It's like, because I believed that Ensign Jones was a real person and not a punchline. And that's how you worked with kaiju, and that's how it worked with when the moon hit your eye. All of these ridiculous situations. And at a certain point, Tor was just like, he knows what he's doing. It sounds ridiculous. We don't know how that brain works, but it works, and he knows what he's doing. So far, right? And I said this to you before. I recently got a 10-book extension to the 13-book contract that I had And I asked you, would you like to know what those 10 books are?
And I said yes.
And I said, so would I. Because the fact of the matter is, they know I'm good for it. And that's kind of how we go. So the pitch sessions now are just, here's the book. Okay.
I could have finished my whole chapter.
You could have done the whole chapter by now. You have, is it right there?
Yeah, it was right here. It's literally right here.
You could have been editing, right? Ask your next question, I'll go for 20 minutes.
Perfect. Oh, now I'm torn which one I'm going to ask.
Well, see.
All right, so we. You may not suspect this, but John and I are friends. So we were having a conversation that I've been thinking about, but I wanted you to expound upon it.
There's so many conversations we had, this could go really bad really quick.
No, this was a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, because you had started to talk about the intersection of weird privilege and dumb luck.
Yeah.
And how it applies to your career.
Uh-huh.
And go.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, I've had a whole lot of both. I mean, this is one of the things that I think people forget is like when you see someone like me or you see someone who's like a New York Times bestseller and all that sort of stuff, and you go into a bookstore and it seems like every book has New York Times bestseller on it, and you're like, how many bestsellers can there be? And the answer is quite a lot because they have more than one list, and it rotates. But the other thing is, the bookstore that you are in is a tower of survivorship bias. It absolutely is, because the books that keep going are the books that you see are from the people who actually have careers. And so that they've done not just one book, which is so amazing. If you get one book published, you are already a star, and you really should take a moment to accept the fact that you have done something that so many other people wish they could have done, and you did it, right? But even if you have just one book published, that's amazing. But it's a tough business, and so some people have one book published, some people have 2 or 3, and then they exit out to go back to their day job or find another line of work which is more stable or whatever. So the tendency is to see the people who have had that sort of success that is actually really unusual. So you will see the person that has 5 or 6 books on the shelf, or 10 books on the shelf, or Brandon, 1 book, but it takes up the entire shelf. And I have talked to him about this. I'm like, what are you doing? I've written 4 books. I got paid 4 times for the same amount that you wrote 1 book for. He says, yes, but I make 4 times what you do. So that's a lie, by the way. He makes so much more. So it's a testament to survivorship bias, right? So there's one thing to remember. And how do you get to the point where you get to have the survivorship bias? And one answer is absolute luck. Absolute luck. And I'll give you an example of this. I had Old Man's War come out 20 years ago. It's the 20th anniversary year of Old Man's War. Thank you for the one person who's clapping right there. It came out January 1st, 2005. And I want you to think about what that date means. It means they put this book out after everyone spent their holiday money. On a day that was a Saturday that calendar year, so immediately it was weird because books usually come out on Tuesdays, but it wouldn't really matter because every bookstore is closed. They put my book out on a day, literally nobody could get to it. So how much faith did Tor have in my book? But because this was 2005 and blogs were still a thing and not just something your grandfather had done back in the day, Boing Boing and Instapundit, two very, very different blogs, both promoted it, and it was the equivalent of hand selling, right? Like where they said, this is really cool, you should go get it, and people did. And the book sold out, and Tor was so ill prepared for it that there was literally a month where you couldn't get the book at all while they were like printing up the second edition and so on and so forth. But then it came out in paperback, and it really took off. Because at that particular time, at that particular place, the hunger for a book like Old Man's War was at its peak. There were just enough old dudes who were like, oh, come on, I need a Heinlein. Stick it in my veins. And I come up and they're like, hi, I wrote Starship Troopers. It's just got old people in it, just like you. And they were like, yes, Heinlein. And then there were the people who had followed me on my blog. So they were like, we know who you are, we'll give you a pity purchase, and everything else like that. The book became a hit, right? Against all odds. But there was no saying that was supposed to have happened. There were other books that came out that day and that year that were just as good as what I wrote, if not better. Let's not pretend I am the most brilliant prose stylist out there, that for some reason or another just didn't hit the way they did. Mine did. And if I had published it if it had been published a year earlier, who's to say it would have been as successful? If it had been published a year later, who's to say what would have happened then? It was the right place with the right time when the right book. So it was immensely lucky. And the other thing that was immensely lucky is that when they said, can you write a sequel? I lied and said, absolutely, I know exactly what I'm going to do. But that's the other thing, is I was prepared for the luck to move forward. But then, so that's luck, but let's also talk about the fact that there was inherently some privilege that was involved there. Because I was published in 2005, and that was really sort of an era which was the last gasp of the traditional science fiction reader, which was white guy, mostly in the sciences or tech, and mostly kind of interested in a specific type of science fiction. Now, I want to be clear that the landscape of science fiction writing here in 2025 is so much better than it was in 2005, because we have more voices telling more stories in more ways than we had ever in the genre before. It's not that what was before was bad, because that's certainly not the case, but what it means is the opportunity for more people to see themselves in the books, and for more people to read different perspectives than they ever had before is much wider, as opposed to in 2005 or 1995 or 1985, where you had the majority of one basic type of viewpoint and a few other viewpoints, that just happen to be in the market as well. Now the market is much more diverse and much more heterogeneous. And that's all to the better for the genre, not including the fact that sales are up significantly, and the genre has penetrated into the mainstream far more significantly than it has before. But when I came in, absolutely, I was able to leverage the fact that people wanted that sort of thing, and I was the sort of person for whom that path had already been blazed. I just had to walk the path that already existed. I didn't have to do what you or Nora Jemison or R.F. Kong or anyone else has done, which is to hack through and make their own path. So my ascent into science fiction and fantasy was super easy. They were like, we've been waiting for a white man like you. And I was like, well, that is fortunate for me. Now, the question then becomes, what do you do with the privilege that you have once you have it? And because there is nobody gets a 23 fucking book contract with no idea of what the books are, okay? Let's just accept that what I did is not fair. 100% not fair. I'm still gonna do it. It's too late. They signed me. They can't get rid of me now. So that's fine, but let's not pretend that I don't benefit immensely from the privilege I have. So the question then becomes, what do you do with the privilege you have? I could go the route of, well, I did it on my own, I was brilliant, and everybody loves me, and therefore I can just do my thing. And thank you all for adoring me here in this audience right now.
Who clapped for that?
Yeah, who was that? All right. Chris, Tronny waiting for you when you come. Here's the thing I think that you do with privilege, which is, privilege is great. Privilege is wonderful, and it's so great and it's so wonderful that I really want everybody else to have it.
Hang on. Privilege is wonderful.
Privilege is wonderful. Quote unquote, John Scalzi. Make sure that's the only thing you say, and that you get me when I'm going like this. It's great and it's wonderful, and I want everyone to have it, right? Because, to go back to what I said, I know that I have my privilege because of historical trends and because of luck. There's very little about me aside from the fact that I write competently and interestingly in the field, just like so many other people, but a lot of everything else is just right place, right time, right skin color, right sexuality, right gender, all these other things. And they have nothing to do with me intrinsically as a person, but everything to do with me as a person in the context of our society. So, what I've decided to do, not only because I think it's right, but also to keep people from stabbing me in the eye. Because you're laughing now. You were clapping earlier, and now you are laughing. Forget it. The 20's staying in the wallet. You need to sort yourself out, dude. Is to make sure that I am doing things that I think that will help promote other writers, right? The big idea, which is the thing that I've been doing on my website for the last, I think, 15 years, is letting, because I still have a very large traffic on my blog, is letting people talk about their own books to the audience that I've accrued, because that's an audience that's absolutely going to be interested in knowing about new writers. I talk about other people's books all the time. As the former president of SIFLA, it was very important for us to make sure that we were working as an organization not just for the top tier of writers, but for every writer who is a member of our institution. I have the opportunity to take up a lot of space, and therefore I can either try to hog all that space for myself or try to fill that space with other writers who are doing great things, who aren't even necessarily the same, doing the same thing that I'm doing, because that would be really boring if it was just the same people all the time. And the same thing that I've been up to the top of the mountain in the field. I'm a New York Times bestseller, I won all the awards, I've been on the mountaintop, it's really cool view up there. Now the question is when someone else comes up to you, push them down so that you stay up at top as long as you can, or you're like, the view's awesome, come take a look. And that is what I decided that I was going to do with my luck and privilege. I'm still going to use it for myself because, I've been poor and it sucks. But ultimately, my position means that I have the opportunity to raise other people up actively. And if I'm not doing that, I would be actively ashamed of myself.
I got you.
Right.
Got it.
Did you write?
No, I want to make sure you got the important takeaway, which was he linked M.K. Jemisin and me in the same sentence. Hey, so I was working on my scene this morning.
Yeah.
I was expanding out the scene.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing, just so you know. This is
You have such neat writing.
Yes.
You wouldn't know.
Because last night, was it last night when we went to dinner? Yes, last night.
Uh-huh.
You seem to take great umbrage at the fact that I write longhand. And apparently, this differs from your process.
The one true process.
Haven't you lost some pages doing that though?
No, that wasn't my fault. That was fucking Microsoft.
Could you expound on, because you said something about like, I got 6 monitors and that.
I don't have 6 monitors. That's lies, pernicious lies. I have 1 monitor and it's huge. But, boy, that sounds bad. Yes, I only need 1 very large monitor. It's not the size of your monitor, it's the amount of words you put into it, if you know what I mean. You did this to yourself.
I know. I almost had a joke about a black monitor and how it's slimming, but I was like, nah.
You missed it. I was talking about my very sexy pear shape. So.
No. I had a question out there, but no, forget it. No, you don't deserve another question.
So,
No.
No, look. No, wait.
Okay.
Anyway. So here's the thing: is that the very first short story I ever wrote was on my friend Ezra Twakey's Macintosh. He got like the very first Macintosh, 1984, and I basically moved into his room. And I'm like, this is where I'm going to be. And he's like, fine, I'll see you in the morning. He looks up and I'm still there. And he's like, okay. So I've always just written on computer. And because I've always just written on computer, the creative process has always been through a keyboard into a monitor or a screen of some sort. And so, like doing it longhand, I do it, it's an utterly alien process to me. And I know that people do it because every time that somebody does it, they make a big deal out of it. But it's not my process, and nor would I want it to be my process, because the great thing about the tool that you use in a very real way defines the way that you write. And so I write so that I can revise as I go along and do all that sort of stuff. Whereas if you're writing longhand, then it has to be rekeyed in by someone, presumably you or an assistant or whomever.
Oh, wait. Hey, Nashi. Hey, stand up real quick. This is my middle school intern, Nasha. Have I got the next job opportunity for you?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't let them do that to you. But the whole thing is that you key it in. Now, when you do that, that is part of the revision process, and then you see what you need to do, and you can make tweaks and so on and so forth. And if you're used to that process, it's fine. But that process makes me want to run screaming to the hills. Because here's a fact: I am the laziest writer that you know. Absolutely. Do I revise? Do I do second drafts? Do I do any of that stuff?
My name is John Scalzi.
My name is John Scalzi. Fuck you. I'm writing a book about blue cheese. And you're going to like it. You asked.
I know. All right. Who's got a question?
Who's got a question? Raise your hand. Remember, your questions are in the form of a question. They're one-part questions, and they're as short as you can possibly make it so we can get to as many questions as possible.
Okay,
Go.
so 1, then 2.
You said when you were recovering from COVID, you had a lot of COVID brain, and your novel was late. Which novel was that?
That was Starterville. To be fair, I got COVID, and my editor, Patrick Nielsen Hayden, said to me, "Stop writing." Like, one, you don't have to tell me twice, right? But he had a reason for that, which is that he has family members who have had long COVID, and one of the ways that you can actually prolong long COVID is to try to exert yourself too much mentally. Because weirdly enough, using your brain actually burns up calories and effort and everything else like that, and it can strain your body. So he's just like, stop writing for a month. And I'm like, okay. Netflix, here I come. So I stopped writing for a month, and then the month after that, I was like, I feel better. I'm going to start writing again. And then a month after that, the COVID fog actually lifted, and I looked at what I wrote that month, and I was like, oh no. Because it was extremely procedural. And then he walked into the room, and then he said this to this person, and then this person said this, and then they both walked out of the room, and then there was a cat, and it was, and my brain didn't know that it was bad because I was still having COVID brain. You know, I had just enough COVID brain not to know. And then, like I said, then it was just one day it lifted, and I was like, oh no, I have time to absolutely rewrite that. And so I did. So I was a little bit late on it, but I was factoring in the month that my editor told me not to write. I came in pretty well. And it is a point of pride that I do try to get as close to my deadlines as humanly possible. The new book that just turned in, that's coming out in a couple of weeks, called The Shattering Piece. It was supposed to be done at the end of the year, and it actually got turned in on the 21st, partly because the first week of January, we had a close relative pass away, and my cat got a urinary tract infection. Literally at the same time, my wife was receiving the bad news about her aunt, while at the same point I'm watching my cat squatting and trying to pee. So we were trying to take care of those both at the same time. And then the next week, literally like all of California was on fire, and a lot of people I knew were either burned out of their house or about to be. And then the week after that, where I was like, okay, time to actually start writing again, there was a big article about a close friend of mine who turned out to be a sexual monster. I spent a whole lot of time that week fielding people who were like, this thing has happened, I need to talk to someone about it, and you are the person I'm going to talk to. And I'm like, yes, I guess that is my job.
Yep.
And so I had to do that for a week. And then on the 20th, I was like, I ain't fucking watching the inauguration. And that's when I got everything done. Next question.
Are you determined to own every ridiculous multi-neck guitar in the world for yourself?
Am I? Not every. Am I? So, okay. So, everyone has a midlife crisis. Mine did not involve 23-year-olds. And I am very proud. Thank you. Thank you, the one person who is clapping. But it did involve guitars. And I bought a lot of guitars. Like 30. Ask me, do I play guitar?
That was literally my next question. So, by the way, do you know how to play the guitar?
I wish. I can do chords, you know. I can be the guy in the back who's like A, C, A, D, A, E, C, right? So, but the thing was, they're cool, and they come in a lot of different shapes and varieties and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Because I started this during the COVID times. I was like, this would be a great time for me to pick up how to play them. But I confused acquiring for learning, right? And eventually I had to stop. But not before I bought what is being referred to, which is called the Beast. It is, go to Google, type in Scalzi the Beast, and you will see it. It's a 6-necked guitar with a 12-string, a 6-string with a Floyd Rose tremolo. Yeah, see? She's in the front. She type. Oh! A 5-string bass, a 4-string bass, a 7-string bass, and another 6-string bass, but that one is tuned to a baritone, right? And it was up for auction, and I was like, well, I'm building a music studio down in the basement. It will be a... Because it was COVID. It was either sourdough or music. And I'm not allowed to touch the stove.
So between acquiring and building a studio, no learning how to play an actual instrument.
Look. Now here's the thing.
Privilege is a hell of a drug.
Privilege is You're not wrong. But number two, if you go on to your favorite music streaming service and you type in John Scalzi, you will find my 6 EPs of noodly electronic music that is designed. So there's like some guys out there like, yes. And sir, please stand up for a second. Go ahead. He is who my music appeals to. And I salute you, sir. Like literally.
Have you read any of the books?
No, of course not. But you've listened to my music, and that's the thing. It's like the only people who have ever come up to me is like, I listen to your music, it's so groovy, man. Are people who are like me, middle-aged white dudes who are like, look, I've arpeggiated a synthesizer.
You know what my favorite part about this is?
What?
He goes to church with me.
Yeah! So, but this, and so I do this like usually, and it literally is, I will tell you a story, which is, I was in Brazil, as one so often is, and I was doing a book tour, as one so often does, and I made mention to my publisher, it's like, yeah, I have this electronic music that I do, and so he went online to find the most recent EP I did, which is called The Wave Returns to the Water, and he played the first track of it, which is called You Didn't Know, You Didn't Know. And he's listening to it and he's grooving to it because he's a middle-aged white man, you know, within the context of Brazil. And he's like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. And his wife walks in and is like, what the fuck is that? So anyway, the Beast. It went up for auction, and it's a fairly famous guitar. Bill Bailey, who's a comedian, plays it when he goes on tour. It's been played by now King Charles. It was in a museum. They were putting it up for auction. I was having a music room. I said, I will buy it as a centerpiece for the new music studio. And so I put a bid on it, and then I said to Chrissy, I've done this. But don't worry, I'm not going to win because it's a famous guitar and someone will outbid me. No. And so now I own this guitar, and it's in the UK, and it needs to be shipped. And fortunately, this is before we went crazy with tariffs. But it had, I called the auction house. I'm like, how are you shipping it? And they're like, oh, we're not shipping it. We're not. You need a specialty shipper. And so they gave me the name of a specialty shipper, and I said, it's this lot. And how can you ship it? And they were like, oh no, we're not going to ship. You need the specialty shipper. And so I got the specialty shipper. And to be fair, they did a great job. They made its own, crate. They packed it. They did all this sort of stuff. And at this point, I'm convinced it's going to come as kindling. And when they're finally done, they go, here's the bill of lading, here's all the custom stuff, here's how much it costs. It costs nearly as much as the guitar to ship it. And at the end of it, they said, oh, by the way, Lock-In and Red Shirts are my favorite novels. I'm like, it's getting here in one piece. It's speaking of privilege, that's the only time my writer privilege worked for me in terms of shipping.
Can I get a time check real quick?
Yeah, it is 3:40, so we got another like 10 minutes to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a question up here, and then.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start. It's the lightning round.
Yeah, very quick. I'm going to answer very quickly.
Okay.
Go.
With you, 20 years for Old Man's War, curious how you think your writing style has changed over 20 years.
Okay, so the first thing is, if you read Old Man's War, it's on a rail. It's incredibly episodic. Every chapter is kind of its own little thing, because that's the only way that I knew how to write. And the thing is that every book that I wrote after that, I would pick one thing to do that I hadn't done before. The Ghost Brigades was the first book that I had ever written in third person, for example. Zoe's Tale, written from the point of view of a 16-year-old girl, which I had never done before, because I had never been a 16-year-old girl. It was incredibly difficult. And then I wrote The God Engines because here was a story that was bleak, that did not have a happy ending, was not funny, did not use dialogue as something that I did. Lock In, I didn't use semicolons.
That was the hill you chose to die on?
You try it. You try not using semicolons. But it makes a difference because it's meant to be a sort of crime procedural, and not using the semicolons means that it's punchy. Also, I didn't specify the gender of my protagonist, which I know is what you were expecting. So, and I didn't tell anybody about that either. We waited for the book to come out, and people were like, wait a minute, I don't know if this is a dude. And you're like, no, you don't. I'm very uncomfortable. Well, that's a you problem. And so on and so forth. So every book I try to introduce some other aspect. And I will say this, it wasn't until The Collapsing Empire and that series of books that I actually wrote a book that was what I had intended to do the moment I started writing it. And that was the one where, like, if you were to ask me when did I feel absolutely, because I've written good books before that, but they were like more writing of like, oh, I guess this is happening now, and now I'm going to change what I wrote earlier to conform to that to make it look like I knew what I was doing all along. But that was the first book I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. Bam, 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 I hit it. I'm a fucking god, right? And so that would be the time that I knew that I was actually good at what I was doing. So, next question. No, I'm sorry.
Lightning round.
Lightning round. That was lightning. Wait.
Kira.
Yeah. Hey, John. So Christy says she loves you too.
Yeah. This person stole my wife from me twice yesterday.
I was upset that she had to go home.
Yeah.
Anyway, but she does have questions about your shirt, and most of them seem to be why.
The what?
She has a question about your shirt that mostly boils down to just why.
The alpha male shirt?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like I
So
said.
mostly she loves you.
Well, I'm glad my wife loves me after 30 years. I mean, it would be a good thing. The alpha shirt, I bought it because it's awesome, and because, like I said early on, it makes a bunch of angry dudes incredibly uncomfortable. And I don't spend a lot of time arguing online anymore because there's no point. But my continued existence still irks them. And
Can I pick up from there real quick?
yeah.
When I was announced as the lead for the Writers Symposium, those same angry dudes decided to start posting videos about me and what the woke fest this was going to be since I was in charge.
You're so woke.
Right, so I said, my first move will be, hey John, you want to be guest of honor?
Hell yeah. So that's the story of the shirt. I wear it like when I know that I'm going to be, like today's my busiest day, so I wore it on my high traffic days. That was intentional. So I know that there'll be a lot of pictures taken, so that every time they see it, it's like, oh, John Scalzi did this thing, and it was great. And of course, the answer is fuck 'em. And not literally, they're incels, but in a general sense. Okay, next.
There was a question. Okay, yes. Yeah, you and
Do you think you will write a story features your 1-inch tall aliens from Oldman's work?
No.
lightning round.
Lightning round. 5 minutes. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
You're still not.
Wait a second.
Wait.
I'm pointing.
No, you. Wait, here.
So it's been
That's
2
him.
years since
Okay.
Oldman's War, and you're kind of returning to that space.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's likely to be a bit of a style change, but are you returning to this space if it's a space that you feel kind of you pause for a long time, you feel like it's a comfortable space for you to tell more stories in, or is this like a contractually mandated obligation that bring additional funds to you? Is
How dare you assert I write for money?
Security?
The answer is to both is yes. It's obviously the 20th anniversary, and we wanted to do something for the 20th anniversary. And I was also contractually obliged to write another Old Man's War book. But here's the thing, and this is actually really important, and why it was 10 years between the last Old Man's War book and this one, which is, Old Man's War is, one day I'm gonna die. I'm gonna get hit by a bus, he's gonna strangle me, whatever happens, I'm gonna die. My obituary is, John Scalzi, author of Old Man's War and other novels, right? So this is the universe that basically made my reputation. It's really important to me that when I come back to that universe that I actually have something to say. So as it happened, I've been thinking for a long time about what it was that I was going to do in the Old Man's War, because since 2015, in fact, I was contractually obliged to write this. And so I came up with a story that I knew that I wanted to tell. And it did the thing where I had a previous character that people knew, that I brought them forward, brought the time forward so that the arc that happened with Human Division and End of All Things had its discrete thing. This would be the start of a new arc. If it sells, then everybody's happy with it. And that it supported its own existence beyond a sheer money grab. Because I'm doing fine. I don't need to put out another Old Man's War book to justify my career, right? If I am doing it, I'm not going to do anything that tarnishes that series. I'm not going to grind it out. Because we've all been there. We've read the book 13 in the Glorflingle series where you're like, it smells like contractual obligation, right? I don't have to do that, so I don't do that. I do what I want to do, and as it happened, I had that story ready to go, and I actually held it 2 books so that we could have it for the 20th anniversary, because I'm not stupid. So, there you go. A couple more questions.
All right, so right here up front.
I just wanted to ask, as a pretty prolific writer, how do you know when to stop writing, revising, and actually just ship the book off to your editors?
Well, literally, I type the end and then I send it off, because I revise as I go along. Now, what this means is that when people are like, how many drafts do you do? I'm like, 1. And they're like, 1, fuck you, right? And 2, yes. But the thing is, like I said, I can revise as I go along because it's on a computer. I don't have to do multiple drafts. And also, I was a journalist, so I got used to doing relatively clean prose at a very fast pace. So, really, ask me how the shortest amount of time it ever took me to write a novel.
What was the shortest amount of time it ever took?
2 weeks.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I looked at my calendar and it was June 4th, and then I was like, oh, it's due June 18th, and I guess I should start writing it now. Don't do this, by the way. But I had plotted it out in my head and everything like that. It was all typed up, and I didn't tell anybody about it until it came out, was a New York Times bestseller, and got 2-star reviews. And after that, I was like, yeah, 2 weeks, and they're like, fuck you. Yeah. It stopped because of that. And also the thing is that all my books are contractually obliged to be a certain length, so I can't go too much further than that. But my brain also organizes it so that everything starts wrapping up about 70,000 words. Last question.
Yep.
Yes.
Which of Maurice's books or stories is your favorite?
We need to bask in the gloriousness of that question.
That is a really excellent question.
Because if it was asked me about your books, I would have said God Engines is actually one of my personal favorites.
Right, because it's like, it's the one that it ends very dark and people are like, oh, do you need a hug?
Right.
So here's the problem, which is because I've been asked, my brain entirely had fucking blanked out on the title of it, but you know which one it is. It's the first book in the series where the space one.
Sweep of Stars.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes, Sweep of Stars. I read Sweep of Stars, and I was like, fuck, this is good. It wasn't a surprise.
There was a lot of surprise in his voice, but we're gonna not.
But Sweep the Stars was like, yeah, no, this is, and I've read your stuff obviously before that, but this is the one. This is the one because it's a combination. You've always been a very good writer, but to be blunt, you don't write for me. Right. I'm not your intended art.
Oddly enough.
Oddly enough. Nor should I be. But Sweep the Stars was the one that was the Venn diagram of who it was written for is included me in it, and obviously I was just like from the begining. Did I blurb that one?
We did a version of this promotion.
Yeah. We've known each other for a while, but that is the one that I like the most. But here's the thing, which is great. You are so prolific that there's so much more stuff that is out. There's so much more stuff that is to come. He knows what I'm talking about. You don't.
They don't suspect a thing.
They don't know. They don't know. But all I'm going to say is, at some point in the reasonably near future, be like, remember to act surprised.
And on that note, can we thank my friend John Scalzi?
Yes, if you have books that you wanted to sign or to chat with me, I'm going to go over to the corner where it is that they will direct me to, and then you can see me there. All right.
Thank you.
Get out. What? It was the Consuming Fire. It's fun.
Walk all day in those shoes, my feet hurt.